Hi, I'm Shelley.
And I'm Kate, and you're listening to One Lump or Two,
The boldest breast cancer podcast yet.
Join us each week as we offer an intimate glimpse into the challenges and triumphs of facing breast cancer head-on in our 30s.
In Series 2, we're going to be joined by you, our listeners, and some experts in the field to help us all feel a little less alone and a lot more informed.
Now, let's pull back that curtain and dive in.
Hello, welcome back everybody to a brand new episode of One Lump or Two. So as part of our Your Stories segment today, we're going to be speaking to Laura. So I know Laura, she's a fellow boobette with Copperfield, so we both volunteer with Copperfield and we do talks at schools and colleges and all sorts up and down the country, and we actually recently just went on a Copperfield road trip to Jersey to all the secondary schools there, and it was super lovely getting to know her and finding out more about her and her cancer journey, for want of a better word. And she was basically diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer about 3 years ago. So she will continue to live with breast cancer and she will continue to get treatment for breast cancer. So it's treatable, but it's not curable. So I'm really excited to talk to her today and to see what she has to say. And she's so lovely and super warm. So I think you're going to really love this episode. Enjoy.
Welcome to Your Stories.
Hello, Laura.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you guys?
Oh, not too bad, thanks. You know, just tired, achy, the norm.
Very normal then for us all.
Yeah. Thank you so much for agreeing to come and chat to us on the podcast. We really appreciate it. So, should we get started just with kind of who you are, your diagnosis, when you were diagnosed, all of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that's fine. So I'm Laura, as you've already introduced. I have been diagnosed with secondary breast cancer, and I was diagnosed in the lockdown of the first lockdown actually in April 2020. I'm actually a front sleeper. I don't know about you guys, but I tend to sleep on my front. Apparently people do find that very weird.
I kind of sleep all over the place.
Do you?
I literally move around. Yeah, sometimes I sleep on my front, and then like obviously you have to like twist. My head's not like in the pillow, do you know what I mean? But yeah, sometimes I sleep on my front, sometimes I sleep in the fetal position.
I'm a fetal.
Whatever I'm in the mood for, yeah.
I wish I could sleep on my back. I wish I could sleep on my back because I'm sure it's better for the wrinkles, but you know, never mind.
Just get yourself a silk pillowcase.
Yeah, definitely. So, I'm a front sleeper, so I was actually waking up in a lot of pain on my right-hand side, which was very unusual for me. So I got Adam, my husband, to check my right breast, and he actually felt quite a large swelling underneath. So I obviously decided to contact the doctors. They were pretty good considering it was actually lockdown. They couldn't see me obviously in person due to the regulations and whatnot.
Right.
So she referred me to the breast clinic. She says, I'll give you a ring back in a week later to see if there's been any changes. But obviously over that time there hadn't been. So I then had a phone call a couple of weeks later from the breast clinic at the hospital while I was homeschooling the kids.
Oh,
Gosh, I hope that never happens again.
Yeah,
Never
wow.
again. So, so he basically said to me, if you want to be seen and checked over, can you please hurry down to the hospital because I finished at 12 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
And what time was that?
About 11:15.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so you really had to, like, run down there.
Yes, I went down looking like an absolute scruff, but I managed to get there. So, obviously, when I saw the doctor, he gave me a physical examination. Obviously, I explained what was wrong. And he said, nope, everything looks fine. Please change your bras. And we think it's probably just hormonal due to your age.
Wow.
So,
okay.
It's one of them. I'm not an expert, so I was quite happy with that, what he said.
Yeah.
And I think I'd obviously got a tight bra on that day. Do you know where it leaves a rim underneath?
Oh, God, yeah. Like, literally all of mine do that.
Yeah.
I know.
Yes. So, that was that. But over time, he rang me a couple more times over the next couple of months and basically said it was nostalgia, which is one of the hormonal problems.
Right.
And then come the August, at this point, nothing had changed. I was obviously still in the pain, but my right nipple just became inverted. Mm-hmm. So rang my GP again, and this time she actually said that I could go in and see her. So I went in to see her, and as she examined me, her face literally dropped. Now, I know they're not supposed to give much away, but yeah, her face said it all, really. She was like, Did they not give you a mammogram or an ultrasound? And I was like, no, they just give me a physical examination. So she referred me straight back to the breast clinic. Within, I don't know if it was about a week or two, it was quite quick, the appointment. I went back. Obviously, my husband dropped me off at the hospital because it said allow a couple of hours. So at this point, I knew that I was going to get all the scans that I needed because it said on the letter, please make sure you allow for time. I saw a lady consultant this time around, so it was different to the last one. And she gave me a physical examination. Then I went in for a ultrasound. Then I went back in for a mammogram. Then I came back out and they sent me back in for another ultrasound, but this time on my left side so they could compare.
Right.
So I was literally sat there on my own, mask on. Obviously, it's not the best time really to be having things like that done to you when there's just nobody around.
Well,
it was so quiet. It wasn't great. So after all my scans, I obviously went back in to see the consultant, and they had actually found a 9.3 centimetre tumour in my right breast.
Wow.
A 1 centimetre calcification in my left. So I was like, oh, right, okay. I think I already knew, though. It's one of them. I can't say I was shocked.
Yeah, it is one of them because you went before and you like you said, they're the experts, so you kind of take it, but sometimes you do just kind of know, I don't really believe what you're saying, but I have to take it because you're the doctor and that's what you're telling me.
She was lovely, to be fair. They did a biopsy on my right hand side straight away. They said that the calcification, I think a calcification is where it's calcified but it can progress bigger, isn't it? A calcification.
What do you mean by calcified? What does that mean?
I'm not 100% sure, but it was a 1 centimetre in my left hand side, so I think it could have got bigger, I think.
Right, okay. So was that one benign? So that one wasn't cancer, but it was just a lump, basically?
It was a lump, yeah.
Yeah,
so obviously whereas my right hand side was obviously quite a big tumour. Yeah. So, and she was lovely. Obviously, I said to her, is it something I need to be worried about? And she said yes. So,
right, wow.
She knew what she'd seen. She's obviously the expert. So I then obviously had to leave the hospital and await my results. My husband was in the car park, and I remember she says, I want you to go and have a blood test. But I literally walked out of the hospital up to the van. Adam must have thought to himself, oh my God, what's wrong with you? I was literally crying my eyes out. Because obviously, I sort of was expecting it, but to actually be told, you need to be worried, it's still a shock,
100%,
isn't it?
Yeah,
so,
I think as well, because you were basically turned away the first time, and for now, how many months later, 4 or so months later, they're saying, actually, no, you've got a 9 centimetre tumour. You must have been well, how on earth, if it's 9 centimetres, how on earth was that missed the first time?
Exactly. They should have scanned me. He was clearly too ready to go home that day. He wanted to finish at 12 o'clock. Could not be bothered to scan me. That's 100%. What I think.
Yeah, I mean, that is kind of what it sounds like. He said, rush down to the hospital. And it really surprises me that you weren't scanned because, I mean, I went to the breast clinic twice. The first time I was turned away, but I was physically scanned. So I can't believe that they didn't even scan you the first time.
I know, it's shocking, really. And it probably happened to a lot of other people during lockdown as well.
Yeah, it probably did make a massive difference because it was COVID and I guess they wanted you out of the hospital as soon as they could, but it shouldn't have impacted quality of care.
No, definitely not. So over, obviously, the course of the next few weeks, I obviously broke it to my family, which wasn't the nicest of things to do. I didn't tell my children, though. No. I've got 2 children. I've got Liam and Lily May. Liam is coming up 14 and Lily May is coming up 10 this summer. So it's coming up 4 years ago. So I didn't tell them. They knew that Mummy had a boob problem because I was moaning about it all the time. Mm-hmm. I'm quite open with them. I think you've got to be, haven't you? I didn't tell them. And then obviously I had to go back and get my treatment plan and have more scans. I went into the MRI machine where you have to put your boobs through the hole. Scan.
Like a massage table, but the holes are for your boobs rather than your head.
It really is. I was actually telling somebody about this the other day who's also got breast cancer, but she never had that. I was like,
did she not?
That was no, I thought it was the norm.
Oh, I did as well. I've had loads of those.
Yeah.
How weird.
So had that done, and that was actually the day of my son's birthday as well that I had that done.
Oh God.
So I had to sort of leave him at home with his friends and the family while I nipped off to the hospital and came back.
Nice,
I then went to the clinic in Doncaster and they basically said, yes, it's breast cancer. They called it lobular breast cancer.
Right.
Now, I didn't actually realise there was that many forms of breast cancer anyway.
No, same.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are the same, and obviously mine was like a hard swelling, not a lump. So
Right,
again,
okay.
I think until you've got it, you don't realise how many different forms there are. So
Honestly, everyone
they,
I've chatted to has a completely different form of breast cancer, and I just thought
definitely.
breast cancer was breast cancer.
Yeah, it's madness. When I was in the room, I was basically told that obviously, yes, it's breast cancer. You will need obviously surgery and everything. And this guy comes tootling into the room. We were all masked up, and he said, "Ooh, I recognise you." I'm thinking, yes, you're the one that told me I needed to change my bras.
No, was it? Is that all
was
he said?
him.
Yeah.
No, because at this point I'd literally had it confirmed to me that it was breast cancer, so I was in that much of a state.
Yeah.
But you know, when you're just looking at him, and I'm like, when I left the hospital, I was like, oh my God, why did I not say anything?
Yeah, but at the time you're just like, you're kind of not in like the real world, are you? You're literally just like, what the hell have you just told me?
It's like you're sat in the room, you're not there. There's everybody around you speaking, and you're just sort of like not there, are you? You're just in your own headspace. And he was basically saying, right, you'll need a double mastectomy, then you'll need chemotherapy and radiotherapy. And he was like, oh, but there'll be two. I'll be working on you, and there'll be two of us working on you. You'll have excellent care, this, that, and the other. And I was like, right, that's fine. You know, as much it was a big shock, I actually felt quite positive. I thought, you know, we'll have all this done, and I'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah.
So it was actually booked in for I don't know if it was the 9th of September or something. So it was quite quick. They are quite quick at getting these things done. But in the meantime, I'd had a few more scans, and I'd had a full body scan, the bone scan. And then when I went into the hospital for them results, it had actually spread to my lower spine.
Right.
So that was it, basically. They said, you've got stage 4 breast cancer now, metastatic breast cancer secondary, whichever one you want to call it.
Yeah.
So no operation. I would be on oral chemotherapy and hormonal therapy because mine's fed from my estrogen.
Right, yeah.
So, so I'm going through the lovely menopause, as yourself is probably as well.
We're all in the lovely menopause.
Which I hate. So, yeah, that's really what's happened. So, yeah, 4 years on, I'm still on the same treatment.
Yeah, and are you stable?
Yes, I'm still stable. I'm just awaiting scan results. I had a scan 2 weeks today, so I'm waiting for results, and I'm at the hospital next Wednesday, I think, so I'll get my results for that.
Okay,
but this
well,
time
fingers
round,
crossed.
Thank you. They've moved it to 6 months for this time round. So it's the longest I've gone without a scan.
Is it normally every 3 months?
Every 3 months, but they said because I've been doing okay, rather than keep obviously having the scans all the time, because obviously they're not good for you.
No,
we'll move
true.
it to 6 months there.
How do you feel about that?
I was a little bit apprehensive at first, and I can't say I've ever really. I think when I've had my first ever scan, obviously you get the scan anxiety, don't you? But because I've had stable scans for like over 3 years now, I don't really get it much. I can't say I'm that bad. I'm just like, well, it is what it is. I'm assuming as soon as I get a result of, you know, it's gone the opposite way, then obviously the scan anxiety will kick in. But
100%.
every little, I've got a few aches and pains that are new at the minute, and I'm like, ooh, I wonder if it's this, and I wonder if it's that. But it could just be the medication. It could just be bone pain from the medication. So
in terms of like what's happening in your body at the moment, the tumour that you have in your breast, is that still there? Is that reducing in size because of the oral chemotherapy, or is that just there and you've got to hope that doesn't get any bigger?
You know as much as me, all they tell me every time I go is it's stable. So, yeah, they just say it's stable every time, and they don't tell me whether it's shrunk or anything. I've never even seen any scans.
Okay, so you just know it's there.
It's still there, but my breast has changed from being on the medication. It's a lot softer now. It's not as firm. So, obviously, whether it's, I don't know, broken up, but it's still there. Like I said, I'm not sure. I've just got to hope that it doesn't obviously grow.
Like, how do you feel about not necessarily knowing exactly what's happening there? Because Shelley and I are very different. So I am an information absorber. As soon as I was diagnosed, I had all the names up. I wanted to know everything. I want to know exactly what is happening in my body based on what I'm taking and things like that. So do you not necessarily care? Is the innocence of it bliss to some extent, or
No, I'm a bit like you, to be fair. I do care and I want that information. And I have actually said to them when I've gone for my results on numerous occasions, so has it shrunk? Oh, the radiographers don't tell us that. That's all I get.
But surely they do. Like, it would be on the form, like how big it is. Surely they've measured it.
I know, I honestly don't get it because I've not actually seen my oncologist, my actual oncologist, for over 2 years.
Wow.
So every time I go to the hospital, they must be so busy. I get a different doctor each time. So
Gosh,
yeah,
I feel like that must add to like the whole kind of like anxiety of the whole thing. You kind of want to go in and see someone that you recognise and that you trust.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm hoping next Wednesday it is my actual oncologist, and I can just say to her, look, it's getting to the point now where I want to see a scan. I want to see what's going on.
Well, they're your scans and they're your results, so like you should be able to like request
Exactly.
those. It's your body.
I just don't understand. I don't get it. Surely, that, like you said, surely the radiographers, they are looking at how much it's shrunk.
100% they are, yeah.
So yeah, it's just stable.
So, anyway.
And I don't know about you guys, but after my first ever scan, I was told that I had healing of the bone and I had shrinkage of the breast. So that's the only ever scan that they've sort of like told me more than stable. Then the second scan was just stable. Now, I know stable is it's good, but yeah. I find stable hard. I don't want stable. I want shrinkage.
Yeah, 100%.
I'd also be asking a million questions about like what's the parameter for stable? Like, it hasn't changed, or is there a millimeter guidance that they consider it stable? Like,
stable is very vague.
Any growth is bad, any shrinkage good. Like, no matter how tiny that may be.
Yeah, maybe I'm just not, I don't know, maybe I'm just not very confident when I go in. Maybe I need to be, standing up for myself a little bit more and asking more questions. Maybe that's down to me, to be fair. So
well, I think
I'm going to go in there next week.
Yeah. I'd go in there like all guns blazing, like I want to see my fucking scan.
I will do.
Yeah.
I want to see
When you went in and they told you it's spread to your lower spine, it's stage 4 now, what was kind of your like immediate thought in that moment?
How long have I got?
Okay, yeah. So, did you ask them that?
Yep, I said, how long have I got? Am I going to die? Obviously, as soon as you hear the word stage 4 and it's incurable, that is the first thing that you think of, isn't it?
Yeah.
And she would basically say, nobody's got any idea. It all depends on the medication.
Right.
So, touch wood, I'm still on my first line of treatment. So,
and is there more lines of treatment? So, say for example,
yes.
when this one stops working, they've got another plan for you.
Yep, there's quite a lot of different lines of treatment afterwards. So, hopefully, obviously, when this does stop working, which they have said it's inevitable, eventually it will stop working. So then obviously it could be a different chemo route. So. And I'm not under any illusions. I know things are going to change in the future. This chemo's not been too bad that I'm on. It's tiring. I get fatigue, tiredness. Obviously, I know a lot of that's down to the menopause as well. Obviously, weight gain, all the joys
Classic,
of it.
Yeah.
I have seen other people going through. I know the IV chemo does make you a lot sicker, doesn't it? But obviously, I know that's not as long term. So I don't know. But obviously, I'd rather have, I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. We'll just have to see.
Do you carry any kind of because obviously I don't have stage 4, but when I was diagnosed, it was stage 3, and I actually found my lump kind of 8 months prior. And to start with, I was a bit like, oh my God, like if only they'd have caught it early on, my whole treatment plan would have been different. Like I would have had a better survival chance. But I've kind of like learned to kind of be like, let that go. Like you can't look back on that because that isn't the reality. But does any part of you carry kind of resentment for the doctor who just said it's hormonal? And then, do you ever think, or if it was caught back in April, what would my life look like?
I think 100%, because I always do think to myself over that space of the 4 months, as the little bit that's gone over to the stage 4 part, because the bit that was on the bottom of my back was only small. Now, I'm not under any illusions that my breast tumour had probably been there a lot longer for the size that it was.
Yeah.
That is always going to be in the back of my mind. If he'd have caught it in the April, would it have just been primary? But what's the point in dwelling on it, because it's done now, and there's no point in me getting myself down about it.
Yeah.
Because it's just wasted energy into.
Well, 100%. Yeah. But it is hard sometimes though, isn't it? Because I mean, I tell myself a similar thing, but it is hard sometimes, like when, especially on like down days when you're literally just a bit like, oh my God, like, fuck them.
Yeah. I think we all have days where we just curl up in a ball and feel sorry for ourselves, don't we?
Oh God, 100%.
Which we are entitled to, we're allowed to.
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely we are.
So you said you have children and you didn't tell them. Do they know now the extent of what you're dealing with, or are you still protecting them from that?
No. So after I was obviously told that I needed the surgery, this was quite a sad part actually. The breast nurses in the hospital actually gave me a book, and it was a story of how to explain to the children, obviously mummy's got cancer. And to be fair, I found it too heartbreaking to even read it to them. I couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. So obviously once we told our parents, we did sit them both down and said, look, you know, mummy has obviously got breast cancer. I'm going to need surgery and that. And to be fair, Lily May was 6 at the time, so she didn't really understand.
Yeah.
Liam was around 9 or 10, and he obviously started crying straight away. And he stormed off, and I said, Liam, come back. And he went, I know what that means. Cancer means you are going to die. And
oh God.
It was heartbreaking. It really, really was. And I said, but then I felt like I had to be then the positive one. I couldn't, I was like, no, it's fine. I'm going to be fine. Don't worry. So obviously, and then Lily May started crying because her brother was crying. So then she sort of was on the back of him because she was only little. As time's gone on, and obviously the treatment and everything planned, they know everything. I've never kept anything from them. I know a lot of people are different, but I do think it's important to keep them updated, and so they know, obviously, if mum's tired and mum's having a nap, they know why. And yeah, they're really, really good kids, and they've been really, really good. And I try not to go on about it too much in front of them, but they are aware of it.
Yeah, so mine were 3 and 5. We didn't use the cancer word. I found that book too much as well. We just explained that I had some naughty cells and they needed telling off and they needed putting in a place and being punished. To do that, we had to cut them open, and I had to take all this medicine. And because they were a bit younger than yours, we used like very childish and easy to understand references and things that they knew. So like with my PICC line, we told them that medicine went through it, and they asked questions about whether that medicine was Calpol, and we were like, well, kind of, because its aim is to make me feel better. It doesn't immediately. And we've done that, and I actually think certainly my two have grown up slightly unscathed by it all. They very matter of fact accept that I was poorly, and now I'm better, but I still get really tired, and it's just fact. And every now and then questions are asked that are a bit difficult to answer because it's such a big thing to explain. Like they don't understand what cancer means to some extent, because we never used that word. And I don't know if that was right or wrong, but at the time that was the right thing.
Yeah, definitely. I think everyone's got their own way of handling things, haven't they? And I think all kids are different as well. Certainly mine, they have been really good, but my stepmom's, so my grandma, we call her grandma, she's like my stepmom's mum, she's actually got triple negative breast cancer at the moment. Can't have any treatment because she's got heart problems. She's basically just weighing it out, but she's doing all right. She said if she makes it to her 80th birthday, she'll be happy.
Oh, bless her.
Bless her. She's 79 now, but she's doing all right. But people wanted to keep... My youngest doesn't know, but my mum was a bit wary about telling Liam because at some point, I know it sounds awful, she's going to pass away with breast cancer.
Yeah.
And she doesn't... My mum was a bit... She sort of like wanted to protect Liam because she doesn't want him watching her pass away and then think it's automatically going to happen to me.
Yeah, he doesn't
So
want to
whether
associate that with you as well.
yeah, so maybe when that happens, maybe that will make things a little bit harder. I don't know. It's just one of those things that we're gonna have to see and approach when the time comes.
God, it's difficult to know what to do,
Yeah.
isn't it? Like, it's just, well, it's just one of those horrible things that, like, it's not something that you should really ever have to, like, sit your kids down and tell them. Like,
No, I think as children
No.
we accept that our parents should die before us, right? But I think we always just think, oh, well, they'll die when they're really old, and that's the natural order of it, even though that's probably a lot not what happens these days.
Yeah.
But I don't think when you're Liam's age that you ever think about that, so I can't imagine.
Liam doesn't say a lot. He's one of those kids that doesn't. He's a typical teenager, but he did actually do. I don't know if Shelley saw this, but he did a poem at school last year. I don't know. I'll have to send it you.
yeah.
So they was all doing a poem at school as part of a project they was doing, and I didn't know anything about this poem. And I went to his parents' evening, and the teacher said to me, "Have you heard about Liam's poem?" And I said, "Oh no." And she says, "He's done a poem about breast cancer and you." And I went, "Oh right." And then it's actually written Copperfield down one side, and then across all the letters he's wrote something about breast cancer and me, and it was that did make me cry, because I thought he might not say a lot, but that's his. Actually, I'm getting a bit upset now. Actually, that's his way of obviously expressing his feelings without coming to me.
Yeah.
And I've still got the poem, so I will send it you. But I just thought
that'd be lovely to see that.
Yeah, I thought it was so sweet, and it was just his way of dealing with things.
Yeah, and I guess it's nice for you to know that, like, he is thinking about it and he is thinking about you and he is kind of processing it and dealing with it, because obviously if he doesn't say a lot, you must kind of be a bit like, well, how is he coping, like what's going on?
Yeah.
So
how do you help as adults, like adults haven't gone through it? Shelley and I's automatic answer is like, oh, therapy will fix it all. But you know, as a teenager, you don't want to be like that's not what you want to be doing. You don't want to be going to talk to someone about your feelings when you're a teenager anyway.
No, definitely
Let
not.
alone if you're dealing with your mum being poorly or anything. So it's good that he felt comfortable enough to write that down.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's my friend. She actually works in his school as well, and she contacted me. I don't know if it was not long after I was diagnosed, actually, and said, "Oh, I've just pulled Liam to one side and asked if he's okay." And I said, "Why?" She goes, "Well, he's been having an argument with one of the other kids today about the fact that you deserve a disabled badge."
That's so funny. I love that. Always representing, like always standing up for your mum.
I haven't got one, but he was like, there must have been a child talking about the fact that their parent had a disabled badge, and he went, "Well, my parent deserves one more. She's got cancer or something." And it did make me chuckle. So yeah,
that's so funny. Kids are honestly like, they just say it how it is, don't they? I love that.
They really, really do.
I do think cancer, like if you have cancer, like you do deserve a disabled badge, because it is classed as a disability, but we're not ever given a blue badge, and I just hate it.
Well, to be fair, whether this is me being right or wrong, I applied actually at the end of last week for a disabled badge, because the car park at school, you can't get freaking parked anymore. It's absolutely horrendous. And I thought, right, now's the time to do it so I can actually get parked and take my children to school.
Absolutely. It's got to come with some perks, you know what I mean? Cancer gives like zero perks, but like a disabled badge surely has to be one of them.
We don't get much. The cancer card has to be played now and again, doesn't it?
100%. I love playing the cancer card. Obviously, like, we know each other through Copperfield, which we both love. Obviously, we went to Jersey, and it was so great, and I loved getting to know you and Emma as well. Shout out Emma. But kind of what made you want to get involved with Copperfield in the first place?
Well, I'd actually not heard of Copperfield till about probably about a year after I was diagnosed. It's one of them, when you get breast cancer, you see every advert on the TV, everything in magazines. Before then, I didn't see anything.
Yeah, exactly. You become so like sensitive to like the word cancer, don't you? And it's like, were these cancer adverts on all the time, like when I didn't have cancer, or is it me? Like what's going on here?
I think we're just oblivious to it, and then it's like, oh my god, it's actually everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously I read into what they did, and I actually thought it was amazing what they did, because I never had anybody telling me to check my chest when I was younger. I wasn't brought up that way, and I think the fact that they're trying to get 16 to 24-year-olds checking the chest from a young age, I think it's absolutely amazing. And one of the other reasons I did it as well is not only obviously to spread awareness of breast cancer, it's just to have my own little community as well, people that I can talk to. Obviously, some of us have obviously been through breast cancer, obviously like yourself. Some of us have been affected by breast cancer in one way or another. But I just think it's a nice little community. It's somebody that we can have a rant to, that understands. And I just think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I love it as well, and it's one of those things that, like, and this is not just Copperfield, but just the cancer community in general. Like, it is the club that you don't want to be a part of, but when you're in it, it is like the best club that you could be in. Like, it is so nice having that community and you know, getting to make friends. And obviously, like, I wouldn't have met you, and you know, I'm so like grateful that I did meet you and I got to know you better when we were in Jersey. And so many people, like, I wouldn't have met you either, Kate. Like, literally, and so it does bring some good, but yeah, like the Copperfield community is just fantastic, and what they do is honestly amazing. And I know you had a talk today, so how was it? How did it go?
Like tumbleweed.
Honestly, like
they are the worst talks, aren't they, Shelley?
They are.
Really are.
Sometimes like you ask, because the talk is quite like interactive, so you are asking like questions, and like sometimes they just don't answer, and it's just like this really awkward silence of like, okay, so moving on.
So it was, apart from that, I mean, we had, I think I had 200 students today, and it was year 9s and year 10s. And I said to the lady, I went, because I'm quite surprised that they're having it like this young, because I would say probably maybe 10 and 11 or 11 and 12
Yeah, because what age is year 9 and 10? Is that like 15?
13, 14.
Oh, is it? Wow.
Yeah, because Liam's in year 9 and he's 14 in August, so he's obviously one of the youngest ones. But yeah, he's in year 9. I couldn't imagine doing that talk towards him at the minute.
No, that is quite young. I mean, obviously great that they're doing it young, but I think it does make it harder because they are less likely to interact with you when they're that age. Like, I think doing the sixth formers and college students, like, they are more kind of like, they will chat to you.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there were a few giggles in the audience as well. And I did say to them,
that always is so funny. Like, whenever you just mention the word, or it's like the first page of the slide is just like loads of pink boobs on the screen, and you can hear people like when they walk in, like, there's a boob.
I did say to him, I know you find it funny, the word boobs. I goes, at your age, I probably would have laughed as well. But
I still find it funny. I'm 31.
And that video, I've seen it 100 times, but it still gets you, doesn't it? That video of Chris.
Oh, honestly, I was doing one the other day, and I had to do 3 talks in a row, and by the third one, I was genuinely like, I could feel my eyes, and I was like, oh my god, you've got to pull it together. But yeah, it gets you every time, doesn't it? Like, there's a video. What we're talking about is like Chris Halenga, who is the founder of Copperfield. She did a documentary with the BBC called Dying to Live, and you can go to the Copperfield website and request the link to watch it in full. But the trailer of that, like, we do in the presentation, and it's honestly just like so heart-wrenching, isn't it? Like, it's so emotional.
It's very hard-hitting, isn't it? Very emotional and hard-hitting, definitely. So I think we've had quite a few people in tears over that during the talks, didn't we?
Oh yeah,
especially
definitely.
In Jersey.
Oh god, yeah, there was like teachers and stuff that went out, didn't they?
Yeah. So yes, I had a talk Monday, I had a talk today, and then I've got another one Thursday. Then I think I'm done for a couple of weeks.
Do you find it hard kind of talking about like yourself and your cancer like over and over again? Does it ever kind of get a bit like, oh?
I think I'm used to it now. It's just like reading a script, isn't it now? So yeah, I don't mind talking about it, but I think it's quite surprising how much doing a talk actually makes you tired.
Yeah, it really like it like drains you emotionally, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really, really does. So, but like I said to you the other week. After going to Jersey, it's definitely made the talks a lot easier.
Yeah.
It really has.
Like, how long basically did it take you to start kind of like talking about your cancer and you know, the fact that you were stage 4 and it was incurable? Like, how long did it kind of take you to start talking about it, I guess? Because it took me like a really long time. Like, there was practically a whole year where I was just like, no, I don't want to talk to anyone, I want to hide under this blanket. Did it how was that for you?
I think I just got on with it straight away, to be fair. Like we all say, everybody's different, but
Yeah.
it was what it was. I think even before I was with Copperfield, I was still telling people to check the chests.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was quite open about it straight away, and I do think, you know, who your friends and family are as well during that time. And
Yeah,
there was I had friends who I was obviously friends with and I didn't see for very long, and they all just came out for me. They were so supportive, and I even got through a cancer party. Like,
wow,
how crazy is that?
that is
I know,
crazy.
I know.
What did you do during the cancer party though? Like, did you play games? Like, what?
So when I was obviously told it was primary and I was supposed to be obviously having my tits off.
Yes.
I was supposed to be going out with 2 friends and my husband, and we was just going to go out to, like, we're going to go to Bawtry, which is like the next village onto us. So we got ready, went out, and Joanna went, come up to mine first. She goes, well, you know, we'll have a drink and then we'll go out. So I went up, not expecting anything, walked into a house, and there was just like all my friends there. And I was like, oh, it was really emotional.
Oh,
and they basically just threw me a support party where we got drunk, we had a dance, we had nibbles, because she had like a massive kitchen.
Nice.
And basically it was just like the last hurrah before I had the tits off.
That sounds amazing. That's so lovely of them to think to do that for you.
It was, but then when obviously I was told that I wasn't having the tits off, I got really upset because I felt like a fraud.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm really sorry you've thrown me a party, but I'm not having my boobs off now.
I feel like being diagnosed with stage 4 cancer is more deserving of a party than... So I wouldn't feel too bad.
They all just obviously laughed at me and was like, don't be stupid, like, the position you're in now is much worse. But I was just like, I feel like a fraud.
I love how you like just casually like, oh, when I was getting my tits off. It's such a fun way to look at it.
Well, it was. I always wanted a boob job when I was younger, and I was like, I'm going to get a free boob job at last. And you know what? It never happened, and I've still got small boobs.
God, cancer's really unfair, isn't it?
It is. It really does.
Oh God. Obviously, don't answer if this is too kind of personal or emotional, but
no.
Have you had to kind of start thinking about, you know, have you planned a funeral? Have you kind of started thinking about kind of that part of, you know, the journey, I guess?
Well, I get told off by my family because I make a lot of jokes.
Oh,
I don't know about you. I make a lot of jokes.
I always make jokes.
You know,
my parents hate it.
I get told. My husband tells me off. My mum, my mother-in-law, they're like, stop making them jokes, because I'll say, oh, I want this song for my funeral, and then I'm like, oh, I'll not be here by then anyway. Oh, you know, you'll still be here, and I'll be gone, and I make jokes all the time. Yeah. And I made my mother-in-law cry once because we went to the Ed Sheeran concert in Wembley, and do you know the song? Is it the Heaven's Door one?
Oh, yeah.
Knocking on Heaven's Door. I went, this song's about me, this. And she was like, don't say... And I was obviously joking. And she's like, oh my God, don't say that. And she just started bursting out crying.
Oh, bless.
I'm like, I'm really, really sorry.
But yeah, I think you have to, though, for like your own like kind of sake and your own mental health as well. Like, you kind of like, I mean, obviously everyone's different, but like I always joke about it, and
it's gonna happen. It's one of them things. But to be honest with you, I'd never really considered it, but I really like what Chris did with the living funeral.
I really want a living funeral.
And I am really down with that, because to be fair, I like a good dance at a party. I want to dance at my own funeral.
100%. Yeah, I think go for it. I want to come to your cancer funeral party.
Yes, I'll come to yours as well, Shella.
Yes, please. Whichever one of us dies first.
only me and not you, Shelley.
Oh no, hopefully the other way around. We'll
No.
see.
But yeah, I really like that idea of a living funeral. I think that's a really good idea. But maybe I mentioned it to my husband, and he was just like, "What are you talking about?" It's very traditional, my husband, and he's
Oh, is
like,
he? Okay.
he also doesn't like talking about stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
And people have said, "Oh, maybe he needs therapy," and he's like, "I do not need therapy." He's not like that. He's not a therapy person. He's just
Right.
he'll get on with it in his own way.
Mhm.
So when I mentioned that, it's like, "What the hell is that?" And I'm like, "It's a really good idea. It's basically a party." And I goes, "I can see who's going to cry." I goes, "I can see who's going to come."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you want to be at your own
Yeah.
funeral. You want to hear all the nice things people are going to say about you.
But maybe the cancer part might be a good idea, and then he can have his traditional funeral for me.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then obviously you won't know if he's doing a traditional funeral for you. Like you're going to be none the wiser.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think
so it's nice? I'll come back and haunt you.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think this has like changed your relationship with your husband at all?
I would say we're obviously when I was first diagnosed, we became a lot stronger as a couple.
Yeah.
Obviously very supportive. Don't get me wrong. It's also we've had ups and downs. We've had moments of I don't know, like I think he finds it difficult as well because it doesn't just affect me; it affects him as well.
Yeah.
And maybe I've taken him for granted a few times, which is I think it's quite normal. You're sort of in your own headspace, and sometimes you don't think about your partner and what they're going through. And I probably am guilty of that. But we have now started talking more about things like that, so which helps. But I think he went through a bit of a stage where he's like, nobody asks how I am, and he goes, and I'm just going. He goes, I know you're the one with cancer, but he goes, I'm also living with you, and I'm living through all this.
Yeah.
Which I 100% agree with him, and I knew exactly where he was coming from. So I just think I need to be there to support him as well, because obviously he still does a lot because I don't work anymore because I'm just too tired to work. So I do have days where I sleep a lot, and he will, if he's around, he'll take the kids to school, he'll pick them up, and he'll cook tea and things like that. So I can't moan about him at all because he's absolutely brilliant. But I think it's wrong to say that the relationship hasn't changed, because I think when you dealt this news and you're obviously living with it, it's going to change to some degree, isn't it?
Yeah. Like you said, like you might take him for granted a little bit, but I always advocate like you do kind of need to be selfish because you are the one going through it and you need to take time for yourself. But like I completely 100% get that like he is also going through it. Like he's obviously not the one that's sick, but ultimately at some point he is going to lose his wife to cancer, hopefully not soon, but I guess that is the reality. But it must be really difficult to kind of think about him as well as yourself though, because there's so much going on in your brain. I think it would be so difficult to kind of even have space to like consider someone else's feelings, and that sounds really selfish, but like I just don't think when I was like really in the midst of it all, I wouldn't have had the capacity to think about anybody else and what they were dealing with. Really, it was all about me.
To be honest with you, when I was first diagnosed, he was a mess, and I mean, I'm sure he won't mind me saying this. He wasn't good at all, and I was the one that sort of had to deal with him, not the other way around, if that makes sense, because his motto is like he fixes things for a living. He's a tradesman, he's an electrician.
Right.
He's like, and when I was first diagnosed, he he was he had a few days where he had a bit to drink and got emotional. It was just his way of dealing with it at the start, and he was really upset, and he's like, I fix things for a living. He goes, but I can't fix you. He goes, and all I want to do is fix you. And I'll never ever forget that, what he said to me, and it literally broke my heart. But
Yeah,
I felt that I had to like be tough for him at that point, even though it was me that was going through it. I was like having to be tough for him and forget about me for a second.
Right.
But that's I don't mind doing that because obviously I love him to bits, and obviously he's not like that now. But in the beginning, he found it really, really hard.
Yeah.
I struggled a lot with feeling guilty for the one that was causing his pain.
Yeah,
And I remember one moment, I think we've talked about it before on the podcast, about when we were talking to some friends and she'd just been diagnosed, and she asked Shane how he felt, and he just replied with, "I feel useless." And to me, that broke my heart, because I could understand why he felt useless, but to me, he'd been anything but useless. And it was a complete mindfuck for him as well. And I just, the guilt of I can't believe I'm putting him through this was something that I really struggled with.
Yeah, I 100%. Yeah, definitely. That's exactly how I felt as well, because we're basically changing their lives as well. It's not just our lives that are changing; the rest of their lives while they're with us has changed. They've got a sick wife that they have. They have to look after. They don't have to, but you know what I mean. I mean, I know you went through IV chemo, didn't you? So you was a bit more sicker than me. So I obviously never went through that. So obviously I didn't go through all the sickness and whatnot. He said to me that, because I was told at the beginning I'd need 4 weeks of radiotherapy. He's like, right. He goes, I'll take you every single day. I went, you can't physically do it. You've got a job. He's like, no, I'm taking you. So I know obviously in the future that'll be something that he probably would want to do. Even when it came down to me wanting to shave my hair, when it came to it, it's like, well, I'm doing mine as well. I'm like, no, you're not. Because you've got big ears, you're going to look stupid. So... no, you are not shaving.
Yeah, I appreciate the sentiment, but for the love of God, don't shave your head.
Exactly. Don't shave your hair. But yeah, I think I just feel guilty that I've changed his life. And I think I probably even said it to him back in the day. I was like, if you want to leave, go and find someone that's not sick and enjoy your life. But obviously...
You guys are much more selfless than me, because there's no way I would have said that if I'd have had a partner at the time. Especially because you looked, Laura, you were already married, right?
Yeah, we've been married 12 years this year.
Oh wow, congratulations. But I just think in sickness and in health, do you know what I mean? You made those vows, hon. You are sticking to them.
But the thing is, Shelley, we say this to them, we don't mind if you go and find somebody else, but if they turned around and said, yeah, we'd kill them.
Yeah. That was incorrect answer.
You failed it.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh god.
Definitely.
Oh man.
I think I was talking to you when we was in Jersey, Shelley, about stage 4 cancer, the menopause, and the sex life. I think we had this conversation. I think you've had the conversation on your podcast as well.
Yeah. We love talking about it. It's yeah.
I think we all go through the same problems. But yeah, you've just got to try and grim and bear it, haven't you?
It's so funny because it's not a sentence that you really should associate with having sex with your partner. Just got to grin and bear it. But you kind of do because I mean obviously we're all in the menopause, so I assume your libido is kind of on the floor as well.
Well, do you know what? The last couple of years, I've not actually been too bad, but it's just the
okay.
pain.
Oh yeah.
I think I said to you, it's the pain.
It is.
It's
awful.
Is pain,
yeah.
Sometimes afterwards, I feel like my freaking insides are gonna fall out. Honestly,
does it feel just they're on fire? Honest to God.
Yes, it really does.
Oh, it's so annoying. That another thing that just cancer takes from you that you don't really think. It's one of the things that you don't think about, you don't associate with cancer. You should be able to, have a good time when you're having sex, and then cancer just rips everything from you, doesn't it? So would you say you have a good sex life or not really anymore?
I would say so. Whether he would say so, I don't know.
Well, that's all that matters is what you think anyway. So, but that's good. Have you tried? Kate's always recommending Yes vaginal moisturiser. Have you tried that?
Oh no, I haven't.
Oh, there you go.
I'll have to look into that one.
Yeah, give it a go.
That's what Kate uses. She loves it.
I swear by it now.
Yeah.
I'm just I don't know. I need to somehow get a profit share in it.
Yeah. You need to message them and become an ambassador.
Yeah, send me the link. It's over the past month though. I've every time we've been active, I keep getting cystitis, which I've not ever had. It's only been the past month or so.
Yeah.
That's so annoying. It's the worst. Are you weeing after you've had sex?
Yeah.
Oh.
I always do. I always have done. I've always done that. All my life,
same.
I've always done that. So
that's
I've no idea.
Irritating.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going off there. That's a new one.
Oh, it's the joys of being a woman,
Yeah.
honestly. The things we have to do
know.
just to get a little bit of pleasure.
Yeah, men, you've got a hand, just use it.
100, yeah. 100%, yeah. Oh god, fantastic. Well, is there anything else that you want to say, Laura? I think like we've kind of asked what we want to ask, right?
No, not really. Just thank you for having me. I've really appreciated you asking me to do this.
For coming on. Honestly, and I don't know how you do it, and I think I said this to you in Jersey, but I'm honestly in awe of your like your energy and your happiness and your attitude towards this has honestly just been like incredible. And I don't know what is your secret.
Can we have some?
Yeah. I just think you're amazing, and thank you so much for coming on and chatting to us about it.
Thank you so much for having me.
If you want to share your story, we'd love to hear from you. Whether you've had cancer, you know someone that's had cancer, or you just love listening to our voices, slide into our DMs on Instagram at onelump_or2.
Or email us at onelumportwopod@gmail.com.
See you next week.
Bye!